So there have been so many unanswered questions in this case and a lot of speculation about what investigators have and haven't done. So we took our questions straight to the source and sat down with Aaron Snell of the Idaho State Police earlier today. Watch. Sir, thanks so much for doing this interview with us. You're with the state police. We know the FBI is on the scene, and then you have the local police. Who is running this investigation?
Yeah, so the Moscow Police Department is running this investigation. When these homicides happened, pretty much it was all hands on deck. As a team, we're all working together for the same goal.
Good copy. Let's talk about some of the investigation. I don't want to compromise the investigation, but some of the critique or stuff circulating is the crime scene. Are you confident, and you have law enforcement experience as well, that the integrity of the crime scene was not compromised in this investigation?
I am confident that there wasn't a compromise in the integrity of the investigation. We know that the Moscow Police Department arrived on scene. They essentially saw what had occurred. They locked it down, and then additional resources came in. Now, we have a lot of the best technology, the latest and greatest as far as training goes. So indeed, I believe in the integrity of this investigation.
You believe, just to follow up quickly on that normal protocols were followed, witnesses separated, crime scene locked down, that you start off large and then work in smaller. When you guys decided to extend the tape a little bit, was that because there was more information brought to the table? What was your reasoning for doing that?
Yeah, so the other day we extended the crime scene. Really what we did is we just enlarged the working area for the detectives and the investigators that are actually on scene. As we have more and more information, we're able to try and piece together what occurred. When we do that, we want to go out to the scene and see how that fits in. And so it wasn't really an evidence collection situation. It was purely a workspace situation. We wanted to make sure that we held the integrity of the investigation, which is important, and so we're not enlarging and retracting the crime scene per se.
I want to follow up on that crime scene. What type of information, because the public, when you request information from them, you're squaring that with some of the information that you guys have been able to collect from the scene. So you got DNA, and has all that DNA been processed through the FBI lab? Have y'all been able to grab all the technology and all that information from the servers, the Wi-Fi, all that stuff? Has that already been processed?
We are continuing to ask for the public's help, especially for video surveillance. We believe that in many cases, what's not on a video is actually just as important as what is on a video. As far as all the evidence that's been collected, most of that actually went to the Idaho State Police Crime Lab. And our scientists are working. It's a high priority for this case, and they've been working 24/7 to really turn around the evidence and provide that analytics basically back to us.
So we're still going to be getting some more information from that information that they've collected. That hasn't already all been, it's a big crime scene in there. They haven't processed all that information just yet.
That's correct.
All the subjects that were there, that means the people that came from the fraternity house, the witnesses there on the scene that were asleep during this allegedly, have they all been cleared from this investigation?
What I can tell you is that the roommates that were there and the people that called 911, so that would be all the people that were in the house, detectives at this point in time do not believe that any of them were involved. All of them have been cooperative, and all of them helped with the investigation.
So there's been a lot of talk about a dog being at the scene that may have been one of the victim's dog. My question is, was the dog present in one of the rooms, or was the dog just roaming somewhere in the house? Do we know that just yet?
Yeah, so to the best of my knowledge, we do not know that. What we do know is indeed there was a dog at the residence. Once the officers came, the dog was taken to Animal Services, where then a responsible person came and picked up the dog.
Was the dog present for the crime?
So I don't have the information, and we're not sure.
And where's the dog now? Is the dog with the victim's ex-boyfriend? Can you release that information?
So that's really not our information to release. We do know that the dog was taken to Animal Services, and then a responsible person came and took the dog.
Is the dog any part of the investigation at this point right now?
I don't have the answer for you. I'm not sure.
We learned through some of the press conferences, as well as directly from some of the victims' parents, that there was a targeted subject there. One of the deceased victims was the target. Can you tell me who was targeted, or were there multiple people that were targeted during that incident?
So that's actually a real difficult question. And the reason why is because that would be pertinent to the investigation. I think what we have been very consistent in saying is that we believe that this was targeted. We have not come out and said it's targeted to one person or to multiple people. That's all part of that investigation that ultimately will come out. But just right now, it's pretty pertinent to our investigation.
Good copy, good copy. I've been following you guys' timeline, and you update it as you guys get more information. Xana and Ethan, Mr. Chapin, I looked at the timeline. There's a missing block between 9 p.m. and 1:45 a.m. Our team has tried to put together a map and kind of figure out if there's any sources or anything that can provide us information. Have y'all been able to fill that part of the timeline in? Because that would probably be critical to you guys' investigation, right?
Yeah, that would be very important. And so as detectives are out and about, that's also what we're trying to do. And so anybody that has information, we would love to talk with them. We would love video, ring camera, just anybody with thoughts and concerns about that. We want to talk to them. We want to make sure that we have a crystal clear picture of where the victims went, where they were that night.
Is the fraternity house a part of the crime scene?
As part of the crime scene, no, but they do, the people within the fraternity house would have pertinent information. Potentially they saw something out of the ordinary, maybe there were some interactions, those types of things. And so anybody with that information we want to talk to.
I don't want to get into the investigation. Obviously you have to protect that, but the theory of there being what people call a peeping Tom, is that still an option, that someone was in the woods looking at these victims? And if that is true, should the public still be concerned right now? Because that person is still out on the loose.
So that's a two-part question. So the first part of that question is essentially, have we ruled anything out? And I can tell you unequivocally, we have not. As we're gaining this picture of what occurred, I think we're going to be able to hopefully ascertain kind of the facts of the case and potentially come up with some sort of idea. We do not want to get pigeonholed into anything because we would feel that we would miss the other facts. And right now, since we don't have a specific direction in which to go, we don't want to miss the other facts. The second part of that question, I think, is more about the public safety and the public concern, fear in the community. We recognize there's fear in the community. Ultimately, there is a person or persons that is in either our community or someone else's community who's committed 4 murders. And so people need to be alert and aware.
Obviously, you got somebody that's on the loose right now. There's a lot of fear with the public. Based on what you guys have been able to collect, and y'all have profiles there on the team, BAU unit is here, why not go ahead and release that profile?
So we don't currently have a suspect. And so as we build that picture, that information from BAU is going to be critical into trying to develop that. And so if we just provide information to the public, I just don't think that that's going to be a wise choice. It will potentially put more fear, more suspicion on a wide variety of people versus if we use that to really refine where we're at in our investigation. I think that'll be more pertinent.
Based on the profile that BAU has been able to gather, and again, I understand this is crucial to your investigation, do you believe that this suspect has the ability to attack again, or do you think this was an isolated incident, that he was specifically targeting individuals or an individual there at that house?
You know, so I think we have to kind of go back to unfortunately, our standard is that we believe that this was a targeted incident.
So you don't think this, based on the profile, this person or persons will attack again?
I would hate to speculate on anything like that. If you say one way or the other, I think that you'd be doing a disservice to the community. So ultimately, we know that there is somebody who has some people, right? Ultimately, we know that there's a person or persons that is in a community somewhere that has committed 4 murders. And I think it's important for the public to know that while they may not see a lot of activity in and out of the house, they may not hear about a lot of the different interviews that are occurring, we're making substantial progress. We have a lot of people working on this case. And you know, our ultimate resolution is that we would like to find a suspect, make an arrest, and then go through the judicial process, because that's what would be appropriate.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.